Welcome to Professor Cosmo's Sleepy Science, where imagination relaxes, science unfolds, and your mind unwinds with every story. I'm Professor Cosmo, and tonight I'll be guiding you into a world of gentle calm, a world where the surface of the ocean feels like a soft blanket, and the deeper you drift, the quieter everything becomes. Tonight's story is a slow, soothing descent through the layers of the sea, a journey where light fades, colors soften, and the ocean reveals its secret, glowing wonders. It's a story about stillness, twilight, and the soft companionship of a tiny lanternfish who lights the path ahead. Our main character this evening is Marin, a quiet naturalist who has always felt most at home near the water's edge. Ever since he was young, Marin found comfort in the rhythmic hush of waves, the way each swell carried a calm breath, and each retreat left behind a glimmering trail of foam. He would sit for hours beside tide pools, sketching their little worlds, listening to the soft tapping of shells, and watching how sunlight shimmered through seawater like gentle stained glass. Over the years, his curiosity deepened into a study of marine light ecology, how sunlight dances through the shallows, how it fades into blues and violets beneath the waves, and how, in the deepest places on Earth, life creates its own quiet glow. But Marin's journey tonight begins not with research or exploration. It begins with rest. He floats at the warm surface of a calm sea, letting the slow rise and fall of the water cradle him. The sun hangs low, painting the ocean in soft gold, and the sky above drifts toward twilight. Marin feels the gentle coolness of evening settling in, just enough to deepen the sense of serenity around him. And as the first stars appear overhead, something moves beneath the water, a soft glow, no brighter than the flame of a candle. It rises quietly, like a drifting thought, until a tiny lanternfish emerges, its gentle light shimmering like a friendly invitation. In time, Marin will come to know this little guide by name, Luma, a patient, glowing companion whose warmth will lead him through the quiet depths of the sea. But for now, she drifts beside him without expectation, simply offering her soft light to the calm water around them. With a single, slow pulse of her glow, Luma turns and begins to glide downward, inviting Marin to follow. He takes one soft breath, then another, and begins his gentle descent. And now, this is where our story begins. Marin drifted just beneath the surface, where the water was warm and bright, a soft cushion of gold and pale blue. Above him, the last rays of the evening sun shimmered through gentle ripples, stretching into slow ribbons of light that moved across his skin. Each ribbon looked like a small piece of the day that lingered for a moment longer before the night arrived. He floated quietly, letting the warmth settle around him in a calm and steady way. Ahead of him drifted the tiny lanternfish. Its glow was small and steady, no brighter than a quiet candle flame. It moved with calm intention through the clear water, and the soft pulse of its light flickered gently as it swam. Marin felt comfort in its presence, as if it understood that this journey was meant to unfold slowly. The gentle glow stayed close, guiding him forward with a steady rhythm. Here, in the epipelagic zone, the sunlit layer of the sea, everything followed the same relaxed pace. Small silver fish moved like mirrored threads, weaving through beams of soft light. Clouds of plankton drifted upward in lazy spirals as the daylight faded. Some shimmered faintly, leaving pale green trails that floated behind them like gentle underwater sparkles. Marin watched these drifting shapes move without hurry. He reached out, brushing his fingers through a small cluster of phytoplankton. They blinked softly, scattering their glow before settling into stillness again. Marin admired how delicate they were. Their simple presence supported entire food webs throughout the ocean, including fish, whales, and many drifting forms of life. This quiet layer felt balanced and calm. He drifted along with it in an easy motion. He thought about something he once wrote in his drift journal. The ocean's surface is a sky turned upside down. The deeper you go, the more the stars begin to move. The idea returned to him now, as tiny specks of plankton floated like slow-moving constellations. The lanternfish hovered beside him, its glow steady and warm, before giving a faint pulse of light and gliding a little deeper. Marin followed, feeling the warmth of the upper water slip away like a soft blanket being lowered from his shoulders. The colors around him shifted, turning from gold to deeper and cooler shades of blue. Sunbeams stretched downward in long columns, illuminating drifting particles that glimmered briefly when they passed through the light. He watched them drift at a relaxed pace. He could still sense the sun's influence here. Even as it dimmed, it warmed the surface and created the gentle currents that shaped this layer of the sea. It nurtured the plankton that formed the foundation of life in these waters. Every touch of sunlight carried quiet energy, and the ocean welcomed it with soft, rippling movements. Marin drifted through this calm world without any need to hurry. Two small fish drifted past him in unhurried arcs, their scales catching the last bits of brightness from above. They moved silently, weaving through the water with calm, steady motions. Marin felt their sense of ease settling around him like a soothing tide. The sounds from the surface faded. The hum of waves and the hints of wind softened into gentle, low tones. The deeper he drifted, the quieter everything became, as if the ocean were exhaling the day. The lanternfish dipped a little lower, and Marin followed its warm glow. The light above shifted into a soft twilight blue. He knew he was leaving the sunlit world behind, but there was no heaviness in the feeling. There was only a quiet pull toward the calm water below. With one long, slow breath, Marin let himself drift into the deepening blue. The twilight zone waited below him with a peaceful stillness. Marin drifted gently downward, following the small lanternfish as it glided ahead with its soft and steady glow. With each slow movement, the world around him shifted into deeper shades of blue. The last hints of sunlight stretched thin above him, fading like pale brush strokes, settling into dusk. The water grew cooler against his skin. What had been warm near the surface now felt smoother and calmer, touched by the first quiet breath of deeper depths. Particles of drifting plankton floated past him like small fragments of daylight. Each one caught a little of the lanternfish's glow before fading into the dimness around them. The familiar shimmer of sunlight soon dissolved from view. The bright ripples he had watched moments before now appeared faint and distant. They stretched above him in soft, wavering lines that weakened with every meter. Marin drifted quietly as the light thinned. He had entered the mesopelagic zone, the twilight layer of the sea. Here, light no longer filled the water. It only reached downward with gentle hesitation. The colors felt muted, painted in indigo and soft cobalt. Each shade grew quieter as he moved deeper. Marin appreciated this transition. It was the in-between place where day softened into night, and where the bright world passed itself peacefully into dusk. Ahead of him, the lanternfish brightened its glow slightly, offering a steady sense of reassurance. Its small lure swayed like a warm ember in a cool blue world. Marin noticed faint silhouettes drifting in the distance. They moved with slow confidence, adapted to this dim layer. Some carried their own small glimmers of light, tiny sparks drifting along their sides in quiet patterns. He watched them pass without sound. He felt the water shift gently around him, brushing his skin with a cool change in temperature. This was the thermocline, where warm surface water gave way to cooler depths. The transition felt gradual, like stepping from sunlight into shade. Marin noticed the difference with each slow heartbeat. Sound softened too. The murmurs from above were distant now, softened into low and calming tones. Marin drifted past a small school of shimmering fish. They moved aside slowly as he approached, scattering without urgency. Their scales caught the dim blue light, flashing silver blue and pale violet as they turned. Even their movements felt calmer here, as though they preferred the relaxed pace of this twilight layer. Everything around him drifted with gentle rhythm. The lanternfish slowed down and waited for Marin to catch up. It hovered beside him for a moment, its glow steady and warm. Then it gave a single soft pulse of light before continuing its downward path. The pulse felt like a quiet invitation, guiding Marin deeper into the calm water. He followed, moving with unhurried ease. The last traces of natural daylight slipped away entirely. The world around him dissolved into a calm, endless blue that felt soft and quiet. The lanternfish now provided the only source of light, its glow forming a warm thread in the deepening darkness. Marin breathed slowly, letting the cool layers settle over him. The darkness was gentle, not heavy, and it welcomed him with steady calm. Each movement carried him deeper into the quiet. Ahead of him lay the beginning of the ocean's eternal night, where creatures carried their own gentle lanterns and drifted like small constellations. Marin continued downward, following the warm glow ahead. The midnight zone was waiting in the stillness below. The last hints of twilight faded behind Marin as he drifted deeper, and the water around him shifted into a soft and velvety darkness. It was not empty or frightening. It felt quiet and comforting, like being wrapped in a deep blue blanket that muted every sound. Only the lanternfish's gentle glow remained. Luma drifted just ahead, her tiny lure pulsing with a calm rhythm. Each pulse sent a faint ring of gold into the surrounding water, before it dissolved. Marin followed the warm flicker as it guided his steady descent into the quiet heart of the ocean. He had entered the bathypelagic zone, often called the midnight layer. No sunlight ever reached this place. The world was shaped by softness, soft shadows, soft movements, and soft drifting currents. In this darkness, life had learned to create its own gentle light. Luma brightened slightly as the darkness deepened around them. As she brightened, Marin began to see others glowing in the distance. At first, they shimmered faintly, like tiny drifting stars. Their shapes became clearer as he moved deeper. A comb jelly floated past with slow, steady motion. Its transparent body rippled with waves of soft color. Greens, blues, and purples shimmered along its surface, creating a calm glow that moved like a small underwater aurora. Farther ahead, a small cluster of glowing plankton drifted in a slow spiral. Each tiny organism blinked gently, forming an irregular pattern of warm glimmers. Their light reminded Marin of fireflies moving through a quiet summer field. He watched them with calm interest as their faint glow drifted past. Then, beside him, a thin ribbon of light appeared from a line of small fish. Their bodies shimmered only when they turned, revealing narrow seams of pale luminescence. The glow along their sides looked like a stitched line of tiny stars. They drifted past in a slow and peaceful motion, and Marin felt as though he was surrounded by quiet constellations. Everywhere, the darkness felt soft. It was not heavy or cold. It carried a sense of gentle rest. Marin placed a hand on his chest and noticed the stillness there. His breath slowed naturally in this calm environment. The water around him felt cool but not chilling. It was dense but not crushing, supporting him with a steady presence. Luma drifted closer and hovered beside him for a moment. Her warm glow reflected softly across his arms, spreading faint ripples of gold. The golden ripples faded outward like gentle waves. Luma pulsed her light twice, one bright, one soft, before turning to continue downward. Marin followed her warm glow with an easy motion. The water grew darker as he drifted, yet small glimmers persisted in the distance. These were spots of life carrying their own light through the midnight sea. They drifted quietly as they moved. Marin understood that these lights were not meant to alarm. They were signals, gentle forms of communication among creatures of the deep. Many used their light to find companions or to drift together in the darkness. Some glowed simply as they moved through the quiet water. The deeper he went, the more the bioluminescence felt like a peaceful orchestra. Each pulse and flicker added to the calm around him. Luma's steady glow guided him onward. Marin felt a sense of quiet companionship settle around him as he followed. The world was dark, but it was filled with gentle lanterns drifting in the stillness. Ahead lay the deeper mysteries of the ocean and the soft echoes of the deep. The midnight sea wrapped itself around Marin like a quiet and endless dream. The soft glimmers of bioluminescent life above began to fade behind him. They were replaced by a deeper and gentler darkness that felt almost like stillness made visible. Luma's glow remained steady ahead of him. Her warm and patient light guided his slow movement through the calm water. Marin drifted deeper with an easy pace. The water grew cooler and heavier, but not in a burdensome way. It held him gently, the way a thick blanket settles across the body on a winter night. Marin could sense the ocean changing around him. Movements grew slower, shapes softened, sounds stretched into long and quiet tones. Everything carried a steady rhythm. Then, from far in the distance, he felt something before he heard it. A deep and resonant vibration traveled through the water like a slow rolling sigh. It was a whale song. The sound did not break the silence. Instead, it blended into it with smooth and gentle motion. Long and low notes drifted through the darkness, filling the water with a calm presence. Each note vibrated softly through Marin's chest. It echoed faintly around him in steady waves. Luma paused and hovered quietly, as if giving Marin time to focus on the sound. Whale songs travel far in the deep ocean because sound moves easily through water. Water carries it with smooth edges and long tones. The notes drifted through the calm in slow motion. Marin closed his eyes for a moment and let the deep calls resonate through him. The sounds felt ancient and patient, as if they had moved through these waters for centuries. Each call lingered long after it began, fading gently into the blue-black quiet. When he opened his eyes, Luma had begun to drift downward again. Marin followed with steady movement. Below him, pale shapes drifted into view. Large and slow-moving jellyfish floated with long and silken tentacles trailing behind them. Their bodies pulsed with calm and unhurried grace. Soft blues and muted purples glowed across their surfaces. Each pulse seemed to match the distant rhythm of the whale song. Marin watched them move. He drifted gently around the jellyfish, careful not to disturb their paths. Their tentacles swayed in soft and steady currents. Nothing reached or lunged. Everything moved at the relaxed pace of the deep. As Marin continued downward, the colors around him softened further. The glowing creatures became fewer. Their lights grew dimmer. The darkness felt nearly complete again, yet it was not empty. Faint clicks sounded in the distance. There were soft crackles from tiny organisms and low murmurings from creatures passing far out of sight. The deep sea hummed gently, not with noise but with presence. Marin drifted through this quiet with ease. Luma's warm glow pulsed once more. The lanternfish moved with steady confidence through the calm water. Marin sensed that she understood these sounds well, knew which belonged to distant whales, which came from small shifts in the current, and which from tiny glowing creatures that lived in the deep. He followed her calm trail. The deeper they drifted, the softer the echoes became. Soon even the whale song faded into memory. Ahead of them, a new glow appeared. It was warm, rising, and faintly shimmering. The hydrothermal ridge was drawing near. The faint glow ahead grew clearer as Marin and Luma drifted downward. A warm shimmer rose through the cool darkness of the deep. The light was not bright or sharp. It flickered softly, like the glow of a distant hearth seen on a winter night. Even the water felt different here. It carried a gentle warmth that seemed impossible at this depth. Luma slowed her descent with small, deliberate movements. Her tiny lantern glowed steadily, but now its warm gold blended with another color, a soft, reddish shimmer rising from the seafloor below. Marin felt a quiet sense of anticipation settle through him. It was not excitement, but calm curiosity. As they moved closer, shapes appeared in the darkness. Tall and slender towers reached upward like slow-growing trees of stone. Their surfaces rippled with shifting patterns of mineral-rich water. The shimmering movements caught Luma's gentle light. Marin recognized them as hydrothermal vents, the deep-sea chimneys where Earth's heat escaped into the ocean. He approached slowly, letting the rising warmth brush against his skin. It was not hot. It was only slightly warmer than the water around it. The water spilling from the vents moved upward in soft and billowing plumes. Each plume held faint glimmers of minerals. Around the base of the vents lay clusters of pale and delicate life. Soft mats of bacteria clung to the rock in gentle patches of white and gold. These organisms fed on minerals from deep within the earth. They shimmered faintly as the currents passed. Luma drifted closer to one of the chimneys. Her glow illuminated a small patch of the organisms. They seemed almost fabric-like, gently waving in the warm water. Marin knew they were part of a community built on chemosynthesis, life created from chemical energy rather than sunlight. The idea always amazed him. Life could begin even here, far from the sun. A few small and ghostly shrimp drifted into view. Their bodies looked nearly transparent in the dim light. They gathered near the gentle warmth of the vent, moving slowly with calm and steady motions. Their antennae waved like fine strands of silk. Farther back, Marin saw tube worms swaying with soft plumes that caught the warm currents. The entire scene felt peaceful. It was not harsh or volcanic. It was warm, steady, and methodical. The vents released shimmering streams upward in slow rhythm, each plume rising like a quiet exhale. Marin floated still for a moment and let the warmth settle over him. The deep sea felt calm and supportive here. Luma's glow pulsed twice in a soft and clear signal. She was ready to continue downward. Marin took one last look at the glowing chimneys and the quiet life that thrived around them. He followed his lanternfish guide as the warm shimmer faded behind him. The water grew cooler again as they drifted lower. Ahead lay the wide and open plains of the abyss. The warm shimmer of the hydrothermal vents faded behind Marin as he followed Luma into deeper and cooler darkness. The glow of the chimneys softened into distant embers before disappearing from view. The ocean around him grew still again. It was the kind of stillness that felt comforting, like entering a quiet room where every breath moved slowly. Luma drifted ahead with her soft golden lure, lighting only a small circle of water at a time. Beyond that circle, everything faded into velvety blue-black. Marin felt no fear in this darkness. Instead, he felt a deep and steady calm. The abyss was vast, but it carried a gentle quiet. Each movement he made was absorbed by the water and softened into a peaceful glide. This was the abyssal zone, one of the deepest and quietest places on Earth. The water pressed around him in a dense and steady way. The pressure of the depths did not feel harsh. It felt like a soft and grounding weight that held him steady. As Luma guided him forward, shapes slowly appeared in her glow. Pale creatures drifted across the sediment plains. A large and slow sea cucumber moved gently along the sea floor, its body folding and stretching with patient motion. A delicate, brittle star rested nearby, extending one thin arm toward the stillness. The seafloor looked soft and calm, like a layer of fine dust settling over ancient stone. Tiny particles drifted downward in slow spirals. This marine snow carried organic fragments from the world far above. Each particle caught the lanternfish's light as it passed, flickering once before sinking out of sight. Marin watched the drifting snow for a moment and felt its unhurried rhythm. A small, translucent fish drifted past with nearly invisible motion. Its ghost-like body paused briefly in Luma's glow. Its eyes reflected the soft gold light before it floated away again. These deep-sea creatures lived in stillness. Their movements were shaped by patience and gentle endurance. No rushing currents reached them. No bright lights startled them. Everything moved in calm and steady patterns. Luma slowed her pace and allowed Marin to drift beside her. For a while, neither of them moved forward. They hovered in the vast quiet, suspended in a space that felt endless. The lanternfish dimmed her glow slightly, letting more darkness settle around them. In this silence, Marin felt the rhythm of the ocean ooze through him. The slow heartbeat of the abyssal plain felt steady and grounding. After a long and gentle pause, Luma brightened her glow again. She flicked her tail once, sending a small spiral of gold through the water. It drifted outward with unhurried motion. Marin understood the signal. It was time to continue. Below them lay the deepest realm of all, where darkness and stillness blended into the softest embrace the ocean could offer. He followed his tiny guide downward in calm motion. The darkness deepened as Marin followed Luma into the final quiet reach of the deep. Here, even the drifting marine snow thinned into rare and delicate flakes. The water felt cooler, and the silence wrapped around him like a soft blanket that seemed endless. There was no movement except the faint sway of Luma's tail and Marin's own slow drifting as they moved through this calm and dark space. For a moment, Luma dimmed her glow almost completely. Marin floated in near total darkness and let the stillness settle around him. He sensed, not through sight, but through a quiet awareness, that he had reached the deepest place of the journey. It felt like a realm where time stretched into unhurried moments and where the ocean rested in complete calm. He remained there for a long and steady breath, then another. With a soft flick of her tail, Luma brightened again. Her glow revealed a small circle of water around them, warm and gentle in tone. Marin recognized it as the light of a farewell. Luma swam upward a short distance, curling slowly through the water, then paused with her glowing lure held steady. The message felt clear. The descent had ended. It was time to rise. Marin nodded softly, though he knew Luma did not need gestures to understand. She pulsed her light once, bright and then fading, before drifting upward with slow and careful movement. Marin followed, letting his body rise as though lifted by a calm and unseen tide. At first, the darkness remained complete around him. Then, a faint suggestion of light appeared above. It was a thin veil of pale blue, barely visible but growing slowly. It spread gently like dawn rising behind a distant hill. Marin felt the water warm slightly. He sensed the pressure ease. Distant sounds began to return in quiet layers. Luma swam ahead, her glow no longer the sole source of light, but still a steady guide. As they ascended, small glimmers appeared around them. Tiny creatures caught the returning light, their soft pulses echoing the twilight zone above. Farther upward, the blue shifted toward pale turquoise. Silhouettes of drifting fish passed overhead in slow and steady arcs. Marin watched the shapes move like quiet shadows drawn against a watercolor sky. He felt a gentle transition from darkness to light settle through him. Soon, the golden shimmer of sunlight reached downward in thin beams. These beams illuminated drifting plankton that sparkled like tiny waking stars. Marin drifted within the warm light with easy motion. Luma paused near the brighter water of the sunlit surface. Her own glow appeared faint beside the sunlight. She pulsed once, warm and gentle, and circled Marin slowly, offering a final moment of companionship. Then she sank slightly into the deeper blue. Her glow faded with each movement until Marin could no longer see where she ended and the ocean began. Marin continued upward alone as the surface rose to meet him. He broke through with a slow breath. The air felt warm against his face, and the waves rocked him with familiar comfort. The deep had quieted his mind. The ascent had lightened his heart. The journey through the ocean's layers remained with him as a calm memory. Above him, the first stars shimmered. Below him, the deep rested once more. Marin let himself drift on the surface, peaceful and steady, held by the soft embrace of the night.